This is Echo 3, and let's continue our modded career mode discussion. Right now we're a little short on science points, so I'm going to go to R&D building and unlock some tech tree nodes like this one right here that has the Mystery Goo and Science Junior. Those experiments can get us a lot of science points when performed in different environments, so I hope to use that on our next several missions. And learning from last time, we need some better landing gear if we want to survive re-entry in the atmosphere. Let's pick a couple contracts. Here's one to fly by the Mun. I think we can just barely pull this off, but we should be able to get a lot of science from that and quite a bit of funds. And here's another to do this test flight to the island airfield. We won't be doing that at the same time we fly to the Mun, but that should make for a good couple missions to start. Let's construct our plane that's going to go by the Mun. We're going to need to make sure we have sufficient delta V for this mission, so I'm trying to weigh my different fuel options here, and I want to get as much science out of this as possible, so I'm going to throw on all the science experiments we have unlocked. The Science Junior and the Mystery Goo are the new ones, and they can get us quite a bit of science points. That's the Kerbal Engineer redo piece. That'll give us crucial information through the mission as far as our orbital parameters, and some wings, because I intend to land this back on Kerbal, but we don't want too much in the way of wing parts because they'll just be dry mass in space and limit our delta V, but we're going to need enough so we can control the craft in atmospheric flight. It's a bit of a balance there. We can double the use of these vertical stabilizers and use them as air brakes as well, and unlike last time, we're going to have some more heat resistant landing gear. I intend to land this safely back on Kerbal, so I'm going to use some more heat-resistant parts. The most problematic part on this is probably going to be the Science Junior. It doesn't have a lot of heat tolerance, and I'm putting it in the back. I'm hoping if my re-entry profile is correct, I can save it. If not, I will not be able to gather those science. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to balance the thrust from the engine and keep it in line as perfectly with the center of mass as possible. Now we need to get this into space, so I'm going to just throw on a massive rocket on the back. I'm going to use the swivel engine in this case. It will help just keep the rocket a little bit more stable on ascent. And then let's throw on a couple big boosters on the side just to launch this thing as high up in the atmosphere as possible. And I think this will be enough of a rocket to get us into orbit, and I believe this should be able to fly by the Mun. The problem though with all of those wings on the aircraft part is it's going to make the craft a little unstable. You can see that lift indicator, the blue ball. I really need it behind the center of mass indicator to have a stable rocket on ascent. So I'm going to throw quite a bit of wings on the back of this, and I'm guessing we'll be stable enough on ascent with this. Oh yeah, I misplaced the one piece. Let's kind of correct that. All right. Let's actually, go and fly by the Mun. I know this is only like our third time in space with any kind of decent craft here, and let's do a Mun flyby. Now we have unlocked action groups since we've made the hangar bigger, so I'm going to take advantage of that. That'll just make it a little easier to do things in flight, especially like activating the air brakes. Let's look over the engineer reading. We're good. All right, there's the Mun. Let's take off for it. Now, this craft is a little unstable. I have to be careful on ascent. Try not to deviate too much from prograde. But overall, looks like we're on a pretty good gravity turn, and I think we've got a solid ascent profile going with this. I have high hopes for this mission. And now the Terrier engine is going to do the rest of the work. It has a really high vacuum specific impulse, which is why I think we have plenty of delta V for this mission. Let's finished circularizing into orbit. And if you notice this, I haven't upgraded the tracking station yet. So we're going to be doing a Mun flyby without any maneuver nodes or additional information. So this is just going to be all Jeb's skill right here. I am making my burn out to the Mun's orbit. Generally, when the Mun just crests the horizon, that means it's a good time to burn for the Mun. Now, I think we will be having a good encounter here. And, yeah, we'll gather some science while we are in high space around Kerbal. We haven't unlocked the... Hey, we got a great Mun encounter. We haven't unlocked the jetpack yet, so when Jeb gets out, we've got to make sure we don't let go of the ladder because we're not going anywhere yet. I want to gather as much science now in Mun high space. I can't reuse the Mystery Goo and Science Junior, so I think I'll wait to use those until we are in space low above the Mun. My Kerbal Engineer readout on the top gives me my biome information so I can know when I'm in high space and low space. Quite a handy feature there. It's, you know, something I wish was in the stock game as far as just letting you know what instance you're in, but it isn't, so I take advantage of Kerbal Engineer, and I'm really glad I put that Kerbal Engineer piece so I would have the full readout information on this. Now, I want to change my trajectory here so I will be pretty close to Kerbal. I want a low Kerbal periapsis, so I'm changing how I'm ejecting from the Mun here to be a little bit more against its rotation. Now let's burn at our periapsis and lower our apoapsis down into the atmosphere. Our Science Junior is not very heat tolerant, so I want to just kind of skim the upper atmosphere, probably around 45 kilometers or so, and take several air braking passes, see if we can slow this down for a safer re-entry. And our last time we tried re-entry, we had obviously a lot of problems and destroyed everything, pretty much everything but the cockpit. We did get the science, but we're gonna try and save that Science Junior. You know, hey, I think we can land back at the Space Center if we do a little bit of a deorbit burn here, watching carefully. I do have a tutorial on landing back at the Space Center, but I did all of that with maneuver nodes. I'm just kind of doing this by the seat of my pants. It's a good thing I've got Jeb here flying this. Can he pull this off? Can we pull off a Mun flyby and land back at the Space Center without the use of maneuver nodes or any kind of upgraded tracking station? This is just the kind of fun we like to have early in career mode. What can we do with as little as possible? We are going to pull this off. Jeb is going to get this done. Those air brakes are really helping slow our velocity down. I think this is likely. I'm watching our velocity plummet now. We are in excellent shape. We've got enough altitude and enough speed. We're going to make it to the runway, but I don't think we're going to overshoot either. We can control our descent. Jeb's doing a little bit of S-turns, trying to keep the velocity under control here. We don't want to go too fast. We don't want to go too slow. Just try to make sure we have enough energy to reach the runway, but not have excess velocity that we will end up in the drink or something like that. I don't want to touch down too hard. I really want to save all of the science. I couldn't get anything out of the Science Junior, and that's quite a bit of science points in there. I'd really like to progress further on in the tech tree. I am using a custom tech tree with the community tech tree, so we have a lot more nodes to unlock, so we need a lot more science to get anything done. Jeb is pulling this off. We can kind of feather these air brakes, keep our velocity in check. We are lined up pretty good with the runway. We're gonna try flaring up here at the last moment, kill off as much velocity as possible. We are on the runway. We did it. We landed. back at the runway from a Mun flyby, and we got a lot of science points. I like what I am seeing here. And we did take one more mission as well to do this quick little fly to the island airfield and back. We already designed a plane for this. We just need to grab it, select the island airfield as our destination, make sure we have the right crew in there, take off. And this should be just a simple fundraising opportunity for our program. It should also unlock some more missions that we can do as far as these flight missions. I was looking at more of these parameters for these future contracts, and in this case we need to do these testing missions and we'll unlock more of these flight missions. I've actually been playing some more, and these missions are kind of fun, and because I have the Kerbal constructs, there are other runways we get to take advantage of besides just the island airfield and the Kerbal Space Center and the desert launch site. So we could be flying all over Kerbin to some unique places, and I look forward to that, hauling passengers all over. And I think we'll get to make some really big passenger planes and have some challenges there. These early planes are a little tricky as we try to haul the right number of passengers, and we've only got Juno engines unlocked, so we're kind of limited to what all we can do. I really want to unlock the breaking ground rotor parts so we can start building prop-driven aircraft and helicopters. I don't think I want to really use any of the Airplane Plus propeller parts. I don't know, I just prefer the breaking ground and designing things myself. The Airplane Plus parts seem a little cheaty to me. I don't have to worry about the torque of the rotors or anything. In this case, we need to, on this particular mission, we need to go to the exact right spot, which is where we have to offload these passengers at the terminal, which is close to the hangar. There we go. Just made some more funds, which now we can afford to do things like, you know, upgrade the tracking station, and that'll make our future space flights a lot easier. And we can, you know, let's make sure we prioritize upgrading some of these buildings. Like, let's see, what future contracts do we have? These, you know, these look really cool. I want to do the Mun and Scan Kerbin contracts. So that'll give us a lot of science as well. Let's look at a few of these. I want to get some better parts here for our spacecraft. I really want fairings. So I tried launching these SCANsat parts without a fairing, and they just created too much drag. I could hardly fly them. Now let's upgrade a couple of these buildings, upgrade the launch site. We've got some funds to do that. Let's send a little satellite to scan Kerbin, and we've got a couple of these different devices to do different scans. So here's the two different science devices. I've used these contracts before. You just launch them into space, get them in the right orbit. In this case, we want a really, really low orbit, as close to 70 kilometers as possible for these scans to work right. And you just let them up and they will keep scanning while they're in orbit. So eventually your contract will complete. It's a pretty easy contract. So we need a really simple satellite, some batteries. Now they do take a decent amount of power while they are scanning. So I want to make sure we have sufficient power generation. I'm going to just like cover this thing in solar panels. You know, we don't need that much fuel. This will be, you know, that's going to be plenty of delta V for this smaller rocket. I still want to cover it in solar panels so it doesn't lose power while it's scanning. And we got plenty of batteries, plenty of solar panels. Kind of reminds me of the older Iridium style satellites, those communication satellites. Put a little antenna on this. I want to be able to transmit the data back to Kerbin so I can get all those wonderful science points. Now we just need to cover this in a fairing, and I think that'll be sufficient for our payload. Now we only need a tiny rocket. to get this into orbit. So this, I don't know if I want around 2,500 meters per second of delta V on this. It's not going to take much. I'm using some of these near future engines. I've used some of them before as well. I like them. And this one in particular we have on our lower stage is one of my favorite. It's got a good ISP, both vacuum and atmosphere, quite a good amount of thrust. I'm using the Boomerang launch site because I want to launch this into a polar orbit, and it will actually take a little less delta V if I launch from a higher latitude. The reason being is because Kerbal is also rotating, and if I were to launch from an equatorial launch site, I need to kill off all of Kerbal's rotational energy, which is around 180 meters per second. And if I launch from a higher latitude, I won't have to worry about that. It'll make getting into a polar orbit easier if I launch from a higher latitude. And we did that, and it'll just go and do its thing. We have a contract to orbit the Mun, and we have a contract to scan the Mun. So I figure I might as well complete all three of these contracts with one simple launch. We've already got a rocket basically capable. I'm going to give it just a little bit more delta V, and that should be, actually it should be more than enough to get us in orbit around the Mun, but essentially the same rocket. I'm just trying to get us science points and fulfill a few contracts here. So that's really all we need there. So let's launch this to the Mun. In this case, I am using an equatorial launch site because I want the added rotational energy of Kerbal because I want to get into an equatorial orbit. So using an equatorial orbit saves me about 180 meters per second to get into orbit. It's just slightly easier, which is one reason why real-life space programs try to launch closer to the equator for particular missions, because it actually saves orbital energy. The Earth orbits more than 1,000 kilometers an hour, if I'm not mistaken, at the equator, so it can save quite a bit of delta V by launching closer to the equator if you're wanting to get into an equatorial orbit. In this case, we have maneuver nodes, and it's going to be a lot easier to get into orbit around the Mun. Now I want to get into a polar orbit, so I'm making a mid-course correction change here. I want to change the way I'm approaching the Mun. This is a lot easier with maneuver nodes. I really should have unlocked these before I did my Mun flyby. I don't know, I wasn't thinking, but we have them now, so future space missions should be a lot easier. And we'll just set this up. Again, trying to get into a proper height. Now the Mun orbits, sorry, not the Mun, but the Mun rotates much slower than Kerbal. So this is going to be in a polar orbit, but it's going to take a lot longer to scan the entire surface than Kerbal's. Now we'll just wait, and they will finish scanning themselves, and we'll know when those contracts are completed. But when they are finished scanning, we will want to then transmit the data back to Kerbal, and we'll get a bunch of science points from that. Here is another simple flight contract. Let's take advantage of some of these different parts. I like this kind of, I don't know, it's more of a helicopter style pod. This will be fun. We're just going to drive over to the Monolith that's close to Kerbal Space Center. We're going to get some science and some points from it, some funds from it. Honestly, it's a pretty cheesy mission here, but you know, for these career mode games, you're trying to make funds, you're trying to get science points, you look at your contracts, do what you can. I'm going to throw on a few science experiments, get whatever I can out of this. And let's send this little rovy. Oh, let's make sure we get some guys in there. All right, and we're just going to make this really quick. Oops. Careful with my driving. Kind of destroyed a little bit of my ship. And there's the Monolith off in the distance. Again, this is just a really simple contract because I'm trying to make funds, trying to get science, trying to unlock a few more things. I really want to start getting more aircraft parts, but we're going to need the science to do that. Here we go. And yay. didn't notice this before, yes, this is a monolith that's always in this particular location, so you can always find it. Gives us a little bit of science. We got some points to work with. We got some funds to work with. We'll be back to get a few more things. Hey, I am Echo 3. Thanks for joining me for this modded career mode playthrough. I will see you next time.